It'd be a far cry from standing here. I'd have faced both financial and reputational ruin. No project this daunting could be undertaken without the guiding light of a higher purpose. For that inspiration, we again turn to the history and heritage of the brand. Newsweek had lost its way not just because of technological disruptions, but because it had strayed from its roots as a magazine for all Americans. It had turned away from the values and viewpoints of our vast and diverse country and taken shelter among the coastal elites of America. The magazine's relevance, credibility, and audience had crumbled along with its financial health. We resolved to rebuild Newsweek on the values of nonpartisan journalism to speak to and listen to people across the political and cultural spectrum, and to welcome diverse voices in the pursuit of finding common ground. We did this not just out of the reverence for the past, but because we believed it was the right thing to do for America's future. Deeply divided, Americans were talking past each other. The media was part of the problem, not the solution. The pursuit of common ground and fair journalism was good for democracy, good for America, and good for the world at large. I must confess, I probably will not be standing here today if the right thing to do hadn't turned out to be also the profitable thing to do. Newsweek's audience has grown more than tenfold across all platforms since we embarked on this journey. Our demographics today perfectly represent the cross-section of America, with a third of the audience identifying as left-leaning, a third as right-leaning, and a third as moderate. At a time when Americans' trust in media has tumbled to an all-time low, YouGov's Trust in Media Monitor shows trust in Newsweek is growing across the political spectrum. It may not be a coincidence that Newsweek was named the fastest growing English language news publisher in the world last year. The embrace of tradition and heritage was only part of the story. Being an outsider to American media helped me to think about problems differently. I became an owner of Newsweek at the time when billionaires were buying storied legacy media brands to save them from collapse. Those were philanthropic investments lauded by newsrooms everywhere, who now have time to regroup and rebuild. Contrary to that, I was not born into wealth. I had to work my way up, and that turned out to be fortuitous for Newsweek. We committed ourselves to building a profitable publishing business, and in doing so, we regrouped and rebuilt the brand, the platform, and the content under intense pressure. The pressure paid off. Now those billionaire owners have run out of patience and are seeking to turn profit. Yet Newsweek is profitable, growing, and investing inside our newsroom and outside it. There is an irony in this story, that it took an Indian immigrant to embrace American capitalism to rescue an iconic American brand. There were other innovations too. Many Indian immigrants to the United States end up in the Silicon Valley. I borrowed many ideas from the Valley. We run Newsweek on OKRs, a business management framework that made tech giants like Intel and Google so successful. We turned our journalism's mission into products, including Fairness Meter and Trust Meter. Others are beginning to follow our footsteps. My engineer's instincts have set us on a path to build a platform business, leveraging our global reach and growing trust to create B2B products that complement our consumer strategy. And AI is at the heart of everything we do today. Yes, I know this feeds the stereotype. This is exactly what you would expect an Indian engineering guy to do with a 92-year-old print brand. Yet we are thriving in print too. Our print edition is profitable, published more frequently, than any other American news weekly. I was humbled when two Harvard Business School professors wrote a case study on my work in turning around Newsweek a few years ago. Today, my leadership and turnaround of Newsweek are taught at the esteemed Harvard Business School to many aspiring business leaders. As some of you may know, the dean at the Harvard Business School, Shrikant Dattar, also a good friend, is from India as well. So are many distinguished professors at that school. That is another unexpected concomitant of my Indian-inspired success story.